So, we are driving 21 minutes to Rochelle and Corey's humble abode down in fucking Daly City because UPS or FedEx or USPS or whoever it is, Rochelle, who is it, has put her brand new iPhone 11 underneath the doormat. Now, for anyone who's familiar with San Francisco, you'll know there's absolutely no crime problem. The city is completely fine. There's no sort of petty theft or vandalism or car break-ins. It's totally acceptable behavior to just put the phone. These things are worth, I don't know, God knows how much fucking money these things are worth. Like $700, $800, $1,000, $12,000 under the doormat. So, being the
turn left onto Bryant Street.
Okay. Being the great friend that I am, that is bright, I am driving 21 minutes each way to rescue this phone. And so the question is, will it still be there when I show up? So it's going to take me another 20 minutes to get there. So, will a phone be stolen in San Francisco from underneath the doormat in under 40 minutes? It would be impressive if it was, to be honest. I'm sure Rochelle's very upset right now, but it would speak to a certain organized level of crime that would be impressive if it was applied to any sort of industrious activity. Alas, you guys live in basically Daly City, right next to the beach, actually. It's where we used to take Remy for his dog walks until we didn't. R.I.P. Remy, poor guy. All he gets now is the little dog park. Hey. So this guy behind me just pipped his horn, right? And it's a red light. So you're allowed to make a turn on red, but I really don't like the horn being pipped. So he had to wait that out. I was literally just rolling forward and he had to wait it out. Oh, my dude. Sometimes you just have to, I was rolling forward. I was going for it. You know, look both ways. You got to stop in the red. I'm a good driver. Follow the rules. Never gotten a ticket. I have never gotten a ticket. You believe that? One time a police car pulled out on the highway as I was doing about 85. Hopefully my mum doesn't see this. And I braked right down to 70. So that by the time, I think he'd seen me coming. Then by the time he pulled out, he thought that he'd be behind me, but he was next to me. And so he just looked in at me. And then sped off, and like 5 minutes later I see he pulled over some other poor fucker up ahead. That was the closest I ever came to getting a ticket. My heart was beating, mom spaghetti. But I'm a good driver. Check both ways, stop at the red lights. There were pedestrians on all corners. You couldn't see it because you just see my face, but there were pedestrians. There was a girl who, she didn't have right of way, but she was looking like she was maybe thinking about going. I'm not gonna hit her, especially when I have a red light. So I stopped, double checked that she wasn't gonna go. You're allowed to turn on a red, but it's not like I had it either, so you never know when people are going to walk across. And then she signals, the eye contact, look down at her phone, stop, not moving anymore. I start rolling forward and then beep, beep. Hit the brakes for that one, motherfucker. He's still behind me looking very upset. Got a big truck too. Needs a car wash though. Oh dear. This is the real reason that I was like slightly hesitant to help Rochelle out with this 21-minute drive each way backwards and forwards, is even though it's 1 p.m. because of construction in the city, because of I don't really poor planning, because it's a city that's built for like 400,000 people and there's 800,000 people living here, for whatever reason, there's like perpetual traffic, especially around this spot. I'm trying to get on the highway, of course, because I have to get on the highway just to get to your house, Rochelle. And I'll help a friend out anytime, but sitting in rush hour traffic, whew, it's not even rush hour, it's 1 o'clock. Oh, there's the truck. Yeah. Look at that guy. He's very upset. Like, he didn't want to be behind me anymore. He knew I was gonna fucking get him at the next red light. So this car, it has one of these modern features that saves gas and therefore money, where if you brake and you've got the brake held all the way down and you come to a stop, it like counts for like 1 heartbeat and then it turns the engine off. If you let go of the gas pedal, it starts the engine up again, saving money and the environment, right? Yay. And it's cool, except when you, so here I'm gonna do it, okay? So I'm moving, push the brake, okay, and the engine went off, right? which is fine. But now we're in rush hour, stop and go. So I take my foot off. Oh, it was actually good that time. Okay, so now I look like an idiot. But but sometimes the engine will go off, and then you're doing the stop and go thing, and you want to go. So you take your foot off the brake, but the car doesn't roll forward. There's like this pause, and that like unresponsiveness is frustrating on like a visceral, not non-rational level. It's like, I did something and nothing happened. Rah. So there's a little button you can push here down on my dashboard. There, the engine actually went off, so it'll happen again. There's a little button you can push down here to turn it off. So it's the waste money and kill the environment button, or the rush out button. Okay, here we go. Foot off. Now we go, right? And the car in front of me, he's like off there, which during rush hour traffic, people cutting in, cutting out, it's like, give me a break. Right, we are 8 minutes, 51 seconds in. We've gone from our apartment on Embarcadero to, that's the Caltrain, right? It's not very far, it's like, it's about an 8-minute walk. Rochelle, this phone better be worth some cupcakes or something. I will say, no, I won't say that because I'll get in trouble. California drivers. I can't shut up about them. They're so awful. They're awful in a way that is distinctly Californian. It's got such a nice flavor to it. It's, it kind of smells like marijuana. Yeah, it's just, there's this sort of lazy nonchalance, unaware, self-absorbed. Man, I'm really like, you can tell I'm revealing more about myself than California here. But okay, so I've driven from, this past Christmas we drove from Boston, in North New Hampshire, all the way to San Francisco. 48 hours and I think 11 minutes door to door. We hit a lot of states. Sidebar observation: for almost the entire journey, the speed limit on what's the highway, the 80, was 80. The speed limit was 80 for like most of the journey, and people drove about 80. People drove 80, and when the speed limit is 65, at least on the East Coast, people drove about 80. And so getting onto the 80 from wherever it was, and then it was around Chicago somewhere. It was like the speed limit was 65. The people who were in the fast lanes did about 80. But once the speed limit became 80, it was people still drove about 80. So there was some, I don't know if it's just a holdover from sort of implicit mental limits that's put in place while you drive in the 65 states. Oh, hang on. Take exit 50. All right. I hope it wasn't that one. I'm sorry. I'm doing it. I'm aware. Okay, I know what's happening. So this is all a sidebar to the California driver's point, of which I am prime example number one right here. Something to 80 miles an hour, where there's some mental limit, and for me it's not rational so much as like the car just starts to perform differently. The performance, the awareness you need to be, once you start going past 80, my internal risk calculator is going, I don't know about this one. Anyway, California drivers, they don't speed aggressively. It's not the New York, the Boston, it's not the 80 mile an hour aggressive driving, right?
Right onto Sagamore Street.
Sagamore Street. We've got some good names over there. They're not aware of what's going on. And part of what happens with the masshole driver from Massachusetts or the aggressive New York driver is that when you're going to drive aggressively, some people might say recklessly, or at least with decisively, fast, and aggressively, you need to be aware, because otherwise you just have an accident. And you're aware of that because you know when you're driving aggressively, and so you need to be highly mentally engaged in what you're doing. And yes, you might cut people off, whatever, but while that might be irritating, most of the drivers are generally in control, and what they're doing as well as they do, right? So when someone comes speeding past me on the 93, you know what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's aggressive. you know what he's doing. In New York, when someone cuts you off in Manhattan, it's like, okay, he knew you were there, he just didn't give a fuck. But he knew you were there, he knew he had the room with like, 2 inches to spare. They squeak by, whatever, but they know, you know, and it's a very predictable aggressiveness, It's like a wild animal. Don't fuck with them, they won't fuck with you. You can predict what they're gonna do, they'll tell you. You know when an animal's upset. But California drivers, there's no indication. I mean, literally, there is no indication, signaling for Americans, but there's no indication that they know you're around them. Like, there are these mirrors in cars, if you've driven. Sometimes cars have blind spots, you need to move your neck around. Maybe you've seen me doing it. I hope you have, maybe you haven't. I don't think California drivers use them. It doesn't seem like they do. They don't seem to be aware that you're there. What's more, they don't even really seem to care. Where do you guys live? It is a grey day. You can see from the windows it's all just blown out. It's not because this is sunny, it's just grey. This is a 20-minute video now. Wow, the 21-minute estimate. Fucking Google.
Straight to stay on Vaughn Boulevard.
Okay, I don't know if you can even hear her when she talks, but when I go kind of silent and my mouth hangs open like an idiot, it's because I'm trying to listen to this woman. I think if when you do this, it opens your ears too. Science, I learned that in biology. MIT.
Take the 5th exit onto Bucareli Drive.
Take the 5th exit onto Hooparelli. Bucareli, maybe. That's where you live, right? Bucareli. The 5th exit. This is less of a traffic circle and more of a traffic island. Let's count them. 1, 2, Crespi. 3, Crespi, but one way. 4, Fuente. Wait, do you think that one counted because it was a one way? I bet it didn't, because this one's font. See, that's 5, but that says font. 6 is a one way again. Here's Bucareli, 7. See, Google knows which of the exits or entrances on the traffic circle are one way, and so therefore not actual exits. But if I didn't see that sign, I would have counted wrong. That's why you've got to be an engaged, aware, focused driver. Drive with control, skill, and aggression. That is a shout out to FIFA 98. Very residential, which is a polite way of saying it's the middle of fucking nowhere. 119, 121. Guess what? I see a big bump. Okay, alright. Here we go. Now you can actually see that. See, the sky is still grey. It's not sunny. Look at this. Look at this. This isn't San Francisco. This is like the suburbs. And yet the hair, sorry, have not yet showered today. Been grinding, And here we go. Wait. Look at that. That is well hidden. Well hidden. No one would know that this was an iPhone 11. I'm not going to show it on camera because then everyone will know your exact address, which is 121 Bucareli, as I said in the video.